Anyway, so let's move on to spirituality.
Okay.
What?
Yeah.
How do you consider what do you consider spirituality to be?
What do I consider spirituality to be? A connection to, I don't know, higher level energy, emotions, vibrations,
Emotions are a thing.
a disconnection from the mind created emotions and patterns and sense of identity and all this. It's a ascension above that. You can think about like yourselves, you can think about lower, middle, and upper self or higher self, but lower self would be more of your petty wants and needs, your biological drives and impulses.
Survival instinct.
How do I look? And
Ego.
then middle self is maybe more of the day-to-day concerns and things that you're doing. And then higher self is like your higher like vision and purpose with your future, and even disconnecting completely from a sense of body or a sense of identity to your body and stuff. So something like that.
Yeah, my spirituality is basically just that you can't. It's as simple as you can't exist within the universe without also being the entire thing. You can't be in the universe without also just being the whole universe.
Okay.
We are the universe. We are made of atoms. We're made of stardust. We're all the same thing. The Big Bang happened. Stars, like gas existed. It was all hydrogen, and then eventually it condensed into stars, and those stars forged heavier elements like iron and such in their cores, and then they exploded and died, and then planets started to become formed, and then eventually the Earth became formed, and from star stuff, and we around the sun. And then, atoms formed and life happened. Basically, in order for life to exist, you have to create a artificial separation between inside and out. So basically a skin or a membrane. And that's where single-celled organisms came from. And then they evolved into plants and whatnot, and they could replicate themselves. And then eventually humans came along. And then we had a second level, as you're saying, like a middle cell or whatever. Your ego is the same idea. It's an artificial illusion of separation. Your ego is your personality. It's the part of you that's behind your eyes and controls your body. And so this ego is something that was developed through natural selection and evolution to keep your body alive. Because, I'm sure you've done psychedelics, correct? Yeah, so you felt what it feels like to sort of remember what it's like to be, before we were born and after we die, right? You kind of have that.
It's a feeling, yeah.
The ego, from my understanding, is just a filter of that feeling so that your body could be alive. Because if we were tripping all the time, dude, we would not care about our bodies. Our bodies would just die. We'd have no reason to live because we'd be, just everything all the time. So our egos were created to keep our bodies alive, and they develop in humanity with our prefrontal cortex personalities, and therefore that infinitely increases our possible experiences that one could live through life. And I think that we are basically the sensory organs of the universe. The higher self, in my opinion, is the entire universe. And our bodies are created so that our minds can pilot them and experience joy and life and everything like that. But it has to develop naturally until now, in which case artificiality has now become part of. We've begun to choose our own evolution rather than just leave it up to nature. We, as humans, can intentionally use our consciousness to create things. Basically, in my opinion, free will is just consciously utilizing potential energy. If I knew that I was going to be thirsty during this podcast, so I ahead of time grabbed a glass of water. I harnessed the potential energy of grabbing the glass, using the opportunity of the water in my sink, and then I put it there for the opportunity, for the potential for when I might need it. And here it is.
What's your astrology sign?
Scorpio. How about you?
Aquarius.
Tell me about that. I don't know much about astrology. I'm interested in it, but there's a lot of pseudoscience out there, and I don't quite trust astrology very much. I do 100% believe. Yeah, I guess so. Well, I do believe it's real, but I think that there's a lot of wishy-washy woo-woo out there that it's not necessarily useful right now, and that it will be useful because, again, I believe that we are the entire universe. I believe that we are the same thing, the same universal consciousness. So how could the positions of the universe not influence our lives and have, show us patterns and things like that. And plus, I mean, I'm sure you've heard all about the Anunnaki and everything that came here that perhaps created humanity to mine gold for their to put in their atmosphere or something like that. I'm not sure if you've heard any of that, but
I've heard that name. I haven't like gone into that thing.
It's very interesting. Have you heard of the YouTube channel Spirit Science?
Yeah, I think so.
They're amazing. I highly recommend them. I've been trying to get in contact with them. They follow me on Twitter, but and I follow them, but they don't respond to my tweets. I tweeted at them once, and they answered a question, and then they followed me, and then I've been trying to get in contact with them ever since, and they just they just ignore me. So fuck it, whatever. Actually, if you're interested, I actually have YouTube videos on spirituality on my YouTube channel. If you'd like to watch a quick 5-minute one.
On what?
Are you familiar with the game Overwatch?
No.
Oh, okay, never mind. There's a character. Oh, actually, I'll show you the video anyway. So it looks like he is in the restroom. So we're gonna bring up my thing. Hello, viewers. If anyone has any questions or chat, I saw a comment that said, as a long time ago by Dark Sage, as a lifelong Democrat, Biden is the worst candidate that I've seen the party ever run, worse than Dukakis and McGovern. This guy has flip-flopped on so many issues in his life, and his mental state is absolutely deteriorated. I completely agree. So much it is sad. I am not defending all the things Trump has said that were offensive and could have been worded better, but Biden is a terrible candidate. I expect Trump to win the landslide. I agree with everything you've said there, Dark Sage 99117, except for the last line. I believe that Biden actually has an excellent chance of winning. Because Trump is so incredibly evil, and I mean, it's not going to be like it's been, where he was just a bumbling idiot. I think that he's going to start from the beginning of how he is now. So I think that I'm quite worried about that potentiality. I actually hold on, need to check my. A fictional character. Takartha Zenyatta is a fictional character from the game Overwatch. He is a robot built. Hey, I'm sorry. I was on mute, and I did not realize it. Anyway, I am no longer on mute. Could you hear the YouTube video?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Built to resemble a human being, an android, or omnic. Here, I'm gonna actually put it on 1.25 speed because it's yeah. All right. So this is the philosophy of a fictional character, but I also agree with him.
Okay.
But not human. He is specifically made to emulate the monks of East Asian Buddhist philosophies. There is not much lore on Zenyatta's origins or the Shambhala order of which he is a part, but one thing is clear: his philosophy.
True self is without form.
Zenyatta is a robot with a soul. He is a self-aware artificial intelligence that has a connection to the Earth and cosmos that many of us, even humans, lack. Zenyatta realizes that regardless of what we are made of, we all come from the same thing, the universe. He understands that one cannot exist within the universe without also being the universe itself. True self is without form. The soul, consciousness, life, existence, all is immaterial. No matter what we are made of, no matter where we come from, no matter what we believe, we are all part of, and therefore are, the universe. Zenyatta, by his nature of being a machine, has a creator. Whether that creator is human or another machine, it cannot be disputed that he was designed and created with intention. An argument could be made that he did not occur naturally through processes like evolution. Or did he? You may have heard the phrase from physicists, "We are stardust." And this is true. In the early young universe, shortly after inflation, all that existed after... If you want me to pause it or anything or comment, just let me know. After quantum mechanics,
go ahead.
was gas, which condensed into stars, fused heavier elements before exploding and dying, starting the process over and over again until the universe cooled and the dust from dead stars condensed and fused into new stars and even planets around those stars. And from those planets, at least one anyway, life emerged. And that life evolved from a single-celled to a multi-celled to plants to animals and to eventually humans. And humans, like all nature, both create and destroy. Under this view, there is no such thing as unnatural. Because humans are a part of nature, what they do is natural. And even if it is not in harmony with the rest of the ecosystem, it cannot be considered in any way unnatural. Even though when throwing plastic into the ocean, it causes terrible side effects, it is still natural human behavior. If humanity occurred naturally, which it did, whatever we do, even if it is to destroy the planet we developed on, is natural, because we come from nature. Under this view, the word artificial simply means that humans had a hand in its creation. But artificiality is no less natural than the sun shining through the trees, than the wind blowing through the forest, than the ants creating an anthill. It simply means that humans were involved in its process. And this is the view that Zenyatta takes. Does he exist? Yes. So, therefore, he must be a product of nature. So what that he was made intentionally? So what that he was made in a factory or assembly line? Is a baby that is planned any less natural than one that was unplanned? Is a baby born in a hospital less natural than one born at home? Delivered via cesarean or vaginally, is a child not a child? Is it therefore any more unnatural for humans to shape their environment to suit their wants and needs than it is for birds and beavers who do the same with nests and dams? Is a house really anything more than a complicated human nest? However you may or may not feel about these questions, it is clear how Zenyatta feels. There is no difference between the natural and the artificial. They are one and the same. True self is without form does not mean that the true self lacks form or is non-existent. Quite the opposite, in fact. For as Zenyatta and the Shambhali order know, true self has no form because true self is all form. Life, death, natural, artificial, on earth, or in space, it does not matter. For the universe is all, and all is one. True self is not one's body or how one identifies, or even one's own egoic sense of self. It includes those things, but it is much, much more, because true self is reality itself.
True self is without form.
And that's it.
Nice. Very
if
cool,
you-
man.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Do you have any so that's basically how I feel. Do you have any videos you want to share that we can
No.
discuss? Okay.
No.
That's fine. Then I will close the tab. Yeah. So that's basically how I feel about spirituality. I agree with Zenyatta. Everything is everything, and there is no difference, even if we feel like there is, and that actually informs that spirituality is where I get my economics from, because the fact that everything that we are everything, and we are made of atoms, and when we die we become the grass, and the antelope eat the grass, and circle of life, and all that. I think that capitalism is a disharmonious sort of break in that thing, and it basically divides us rather than brings us together. And in spirituality, from my view, duality is death, which I think that you might agree on. Unity is the way to go. Duality can exist within unity, which is where sacred geometry comes in, which is where those images and those shapes came from, the squares and the circles and the Metatron. Are you familiar with sacred geometry?
I've heard it. I've never studied it.
It's very interesting. Basically, I can show you. Hold on. Share.